and Louisville Clemson over the total of 61. All right, Scott Pritchard has been near the top of the standings all season, and right now tied for third. Right ahead, like I said, three-way tie for third with the Iceman, Chuck Adel, Doug Kazarian, Scotty P., and then in sixth place is Steve Fezzik, Las Vegas Pro Bettor. Follow him at Fezzik Sports. Loves to tweet. Tweets all day, all night. The guy can't get enough of X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Two-time winner of the Westgate Super Contest. 21st place finish in the Circa Million a year ago. And again, on Twitter at Fezzik Sports. 5-3 on his best bets. 30, 24, and 2. Record in this contest, 33.5 points. And right now he is tied for sixth with Weston Strapman. Steve Fezzik this week is on UCLA +7 at Nebraska. Also going with the Eagles -7 against Jacksonville. Saints Panthers under the total of 43.5. Titans -3 against the Patriots. I thought the Titans were going to be popular in this contest. Again, we use Circa Sports lines locked in at noon on Fridays. You can kind of see this week the market was going to move to Titans -3.5, and that was the case this afternoon. You're lucky if you can find the Titans -3 out there now, but that's the contest line this afternoon. Titans -3 against the Patriots, and your best guess would be Jacoby Brissett is going to be the starting quarterback for New England. He did lead a game-winning drive against the Jets last week, but that's a quarterback I'd like to bet against. I'm on the Titans -3 as well. All right, Steve Fezzik also on Louisville, Clemson over 61. Falcons -3 against the Cowboys. And the best bet for Fezzik out of the Mountain West, New Mexico Lobos, 7.5-point favorites against the Wyoming Cowboys. There you go. Best bet for Fezzik, New Mexico, laying 7.5. All right, Weston Strapman, he was the original Average Joe last year. He was so good, he's now a pro, and he finished fourth place in this contest a year ago. Out of Nashville, Tennessee, he is right now, like I said, tied with Fezzik for sixth, 30, 23, and 3, and his best bets have 4, 3, and 1. As I just mentioned, best bet this week for Weston, Ohio State -3. Also on his card, Rams, Pick'em, Giants +4, Lions -2.5, Vikings -5.5, Titans -3. Pretty popular play tonight is Tennessee. And another college play. He's got 5 NFL sides and 2 college sides. In addition to Ohio State, Weston Strapman is going to play Vanderbilt +7.5 at Auburn. Can Diego Pavia do it to Hugh Freeze again? Follow Weston Strapman on Twitter at Guy in Cornfields. All right, Pete Wilder is this year's Average Joe. He won the application process. We had close to somewhere between 200 and 300 applicants. We've also got an Average Joe contest going on now. I think we ended up with 158 entrants. And Max Hoffmeyer out of Cincinnati, he joined me on the show a week ago. He was 7-0 on the best bets. We'll make it 8-0 because Mad Max played the Browns a week ago, and now he's the only one in the entire contest with a perfect best bet record. Max Hoffmeyer 8-0. Check the website, vsin.com, to see what Max Hoffmeyer's best bet is this week. The Average Joe in the contest, Pete Wilder from Los Angeles, sales manager for a moving and storage company, and there you see the photo of Pete with Brent Musburger at the South Point several years ago. Here we go, Pete Wilder this week. His best bet, Arizona State, Oklahoma State under 57.5. He's also he agrees with Vinny Castillo. He's going to lay the 8.5 with the Hoosiers in East Lansing. Indiana -8.5. Oregon -14.5 at Michigan. More from Pete Wilder. Ole Miss, Arkansas under 54.5. SMU -7. UCLA +7, and Iowa -3. All right, those are the 7 this week for Pete Wilder. 31-25, 33 total points, 4-4 on the best bets. He's in 8th place, right ahead of Mark Lawrence, and a professional handicapper out of Florida, the winner of the Stardust Invitational in 2005. And I remember the year Mark won that contest. Follow him on Twitter at Mark Lawrence. 28, 27-1, 6-2 on the best bets. That gives him 31.5 points, so he's in 9th. And Mark Lawrence this week is going to roll with Packers +2.5, Air Force +22, Penn State +3, South Carolina plus 3. Michigan State plus 8.5. Arkansas plus 7. And the best bet for Mark Lawrence, Syracuse plus 4 against Virginia Tech. All right, and last but not least, Paul Bovey. I know he's busy handicapping the horses this week with the Breeders' Cup at Del Mar. On top of that, he's had a bad back, a lot of severe back pain. He's been laid out flat on the floor. It's been tough for him to get in front of the computer, up in a chair, struggling with debilitating back pain this week. But he managed to get his plays in, and hopefully he has a big week and it makes him feel better. Paul Bovey, top 20 finishes in the Circa Million and Westgate Super Contest on his resume right now, in 10th place in this contest with 31 total points and 5-3 on the best bets. Best bet for Bovey this week, Rams at Seattle. He's also on the Rams Seahawks over 47.5. Giants plus 4. Dolphins Bills over 49.5. Titans minus 3. Illinois plus 3. And how about Texas San Antonio plus 7 against Memphis to round out 7 plays? Follow him on Twitter at Paul Bovey. Sports Gambling Podcast guys are up next. Have a winning weekend. VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Sean Green and Ryan Kramer bring an energetic approach to sports betting to keep you entertained while sweating your bets on the Sports Gambling Podcast live at VSiN.
There is something to the idea of the smart teams might be zagging. You see all the best offenses in the National
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council. During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Warren, and Salem's local and national sports talk can be found on TuneIn and the Live 365 app at Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
Accidents happen. That's why you need Repair That Glass. Specializing in windshield replacement and all other auto glass, we offer a full range of automotive glass repairs. Our technicians can do everything from minor chip repair to a complete replacement. Your windows don't go up or down, they can fix that too, along with custom glass work and antiques. Repair That Glass is a family-run business for over 40 years. Repair That Glass. Call for your appointment now at 330-534-3192.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio, take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Western Reserve Radio at westernreserveradio.com on the Live 365 network and the Live 365 app.
Catch all of the spring and summer action of Cleveland Cobras minor league football on Western Reserve Radio. Follow the Cobras as they compete against teams from around the region in pursuit of a Tri-Point Football League championship. And if you're looking to continue your football career after high school, college, or even the pros, or to be part of the Cobras staff, go to Facebook at Cleveland Cobras Football. Or contact owner Jesse Caldwell at 330-416-3442. Be a part of the excitement of Cleveland Cobras football.
It's time to kick back and listen to the sports page with your host, Pat Lucia, right here on Western Reserve Radio. You can call the show at 330-707-4202 and tell everyone what's on your mind in the wonderful world of sports. Now, here's your host, Pat Lucia.
Saturday morning sports page, Pat Lucia, 330-707-4202. Get in and talk sports this Saturday morning. And we got a lot to get to in the wonderful world of sports, especially football. Big game today at noon on Fox. Ohio State taking on Penn State at Penn State. So the 6-1 Buckeyes go face the undefeated Penn State. Nittany Lions have to watch, see how that plays itself out. It's probably the best game or the headline game in college football. The NFL has just a smorgasbord of different matchups. One thing with the NFL, when you look at some of these games, you think, they can't be that good. Not going to be a good week in the NFL. And then all of a sudden, you sit down, and boy, you get surprised. Thursday night game, real quick. The Jets beat Houston Texans 24-13. Maybe a little bit of a surprise. Jets were actually a 2.5 point favorite. And probably caught a lot of people off guard. Me and Dave, we both picked Houston and obviously didn't come out on the right end of that. game. But the Jets going into that game 2-6 now. They've got a third win under their belt, and obviously all the people are wondering, can the Jets kind of snap back and resurrect their season and maybe get a playoff spot? There is still, they've played their 9th game. That means there's 8 games left, so we'll see if the Jets can potentially turn their season around. It's been very disappointing this season so far for the New York Jets. But again, a big win Thursday night for the New York Jets. See how this plays itself out. I know we don't do a lot of baseball, but covering the World Series, yes, the Yankees went down in defeat, handed the series to a very good Dodger team. They lost the game that they obviously should have won, Game 5, when they committed that just an absolutely train wreck after being up 5-0 and giving up 5 unearned run, and in essence opening up the doors for the Dodgers to win Game 5 and win the World Series. So congratulations to the LA Dodgers. They were the better team. I wouldn't say they blew the Yankees out. They didn't dominate the Yankees, but the Yankees are the Yankees, very poor fundamental team, and in essence found their way needing Game 5 to maybe force a Game 6. They wouldn't have won the World Series anyway. They gave the first game away. We talked a little bit about that last week, Game 1. And as we've always talked about World Series play and in playoffs, but you can't give games away in a 7-game series. And the Yankees managed to give 2 of the games away, Game 1 and Game 5. And now the LA Dodgers have their 8th world title in their illustrious history. So the LA Dodgers go out and win Game 5, win the series 4-1. And then the Yankees have to kind of figure out what are they going to do next year. Soto's a free agent, is the biggest free agent out there. Will they re-sign him? He's looking for, word is he's looking for a $700 million 10-year contract. See if Hal's going to crack out the checkbook and write that check for that contract. They have other players. Gleyber Torres is also a free agent, and Verdugo is also the other free agent. Not sure if they're coming back, and the Rizzo, the first baseman. Yankees have a lot of questions. It may not be the same team this year as going into next year. So this year's team got into the World Series. Next year's team will be probably different, and all the Yankee fans are going to be waiting to see if the Yankees can sign Soto, and that's probably the biggest headline going in, at least in the Yankees' eyes. Plus, they do have the other free agents like Gleyber Torres, erratic at times, questionable glove, a lot of errors. I believe he led the American League in errors for second baseman. So Yankees have a lot to figure out. The Dodgers are maybe a dynasty here. Dodgers could go back next year. One thing to remember in baseball, they haven't had a back-to-back winner since the 2000 Yankees, 1999. Actually, the Yankees won 3 in a row, 98, 99, and 2000. They haven't had a back-to-back winner since then. So baseball, every year, there's always a different team winning the sport, no dominant team. And we'll see, maybe can the Dodgers change that, or next year we may have another 2 different teams in the World Series. Hard to say. So the baseball season is totally in the books. And now we have football, obviously, in its high, and it's crazy. There's games this weekend in the NFL that you just got to look at, like the Cowboys at the Falcons. Miami is playing Buffalo. Buffalo can run away with that division. Jets trying to get back into it. As I previously said, the Jets had a big win this week, caught maybe some of us off guard, but Houston's offensive line is a train wreck, and Stroud was pretty much running for his life. I believe he was sacked 8 times Thursday night. And that game had no flow to it at all for the first half. Houston, again, Stroud had a really bad fumble at the 10-yard line. At the Jets' 10, I thought they were going to go in and score. They did not. And then the Jets kind of woke up in the second half and decided to play football, and they beat Houston 24-13. But again, football this week, as far as the Buckeyes playing Penn State, is definitely the headliner in college football. We'll get to all the other college football and give us our best shot. Last week I was actually 9-7. Dave Clark was 8-8. We kind of. Some of these games last week, we lost the rate. We should know better with the Chiefs at the Raiders, because it was 9.5 points. The Chiefs won 27-20. They obviously didn't cover the 9.5, but I always shake my head on that end. The thing what always amazes me, the Panthers, to me, I don't bet, but if I was a betting man, I would be pretty much betting against the Carolina Panthers every week, because they are just not even remotely competitive. I mean, they lost last week to Denver 28-14, 11 points. They didn't cover. And I don't know what they're going to do with that entire franchise. I know the owners knew, but he has no patience. The head coach, I think, is way in over his head, but I can't fault the head coach because it's such a disaster.
Yeah, definitely not going to fault him. He took over a situation that was a wreck. So, I mean, we know that it can turn around quick in the NFL, but it couldn't be on his first year. It's got to be. They can't be. Well, this guy might pull the trigger, but you got to give him time, because I mean, he's got to get in what he wants to have in there. Just like this time, allowing Bryce Young, benching him and then bringing him back, he actually played better. Watching that game, that he looked like an NFL quarterback, having a chance to sit back and watch Andy Dalton and learn some things. I think it was good for him, but they just don't have enough right now to compete, and they know it, and that's why they trading people like Johnson. They went on and traded him, got some more draft stock, and that's smart. Do that and then try to build the team. But will he allow Dave Canales to build the team? Or is he going to just cut him and get another guy? They just don't know with this guy.
Flip the switch, move on.
Yeah, he may not wait. He may get rid of him, but hopefully he will get his guy a chance. But if he does, let's say he doesn't pull the trigger on him this year, I guarantee you within 6 games,
next year
he has to have an even, either 3-3, 4-2. If he's 1-5, 0-6, he's done. Right before, he's gone. Because I can't see this guy being that patient. I don't even see him being patient through the rest of the season, but I'm hoping he will. You can't get this guy first time as a head coach. Now we know they already talked about, a lot of people gave him, as far as a football mind, is really good. But come on, you got to give him a chance to get some personnel in there. And they do got some talent, but they got to be able to put all this stuff together. That's one thing about the NFL. You look at a team and say, well, they look terrible. And you say they don't have talent. And I really kind of shy away from saying that when it comes to NFL football, because we done seen teams that have losing records get a different coach with a different attitude, different philosophy, and all of a sudden the team is a playoff team, a great team, just all of a sudden, same players and stuff. So we know the talent be there sometimes, but they're trying things that don't actually mesh together. So we'll see if this guy, I know he's probably nervous right now, looking at just want to fire him. I guarantee the guy that guy has no patience.
Well, the part on it is the Panthers are actually hosting the Saints, and that's Coach Allen, Dennis Allen for the Saints, who started out 2-0, and everybody had, boy, they could be a playoff team. They just crushed the Dallas Cowboys at Dallas. They've reeled off 6 straight losses since then. Their season is over. I mean, the reality on it is this, is when you look at some of these teams, like, do they do the wholesale? Do they start selling off? Because teams are desperate. Like Houston needs offensive linemen. They've come out and they're going to be looking for for offensive linemen now. And it's hard to find good offensive linemen this time of year, but maybe you'll get lucky with a fire sale type of team and maybe find an offensive lineman to upgrade your line. But when I sit back and just look at the landscape of NFL football coming into week 9, and you could see teams that you pretty much look and you've watched them on Sunday, there's teams that are basically done.
Yeah.
Like the Patriots are 2-6. They beat the Jets last week. They're on the road. They play the 1-6 Titans. Both these teams are pretty much wholesale. They're probably going to be selling out, parts, get draft choices, and almost go into rebuild. The Titans are 1-6. That's these two teams are pretty much to the point, rebuild. The Panthers, we know they're rebuilding. The Saints are rebuilding. They're not good teams.
Yeah, I'd be wondering if the Saints going to sell. I mean, it could, but if you go and look at stuff on there, they got 3 of their starting offensive linemen out from the 2-0 start.
Right.
Those guys gone. You got Olave might be back now. I don't know if he's back yet. He might be still out. Shaheed is out for the season. You have Kamara banged up, been playing with injuries. You got Derek Carr out. He's injured. You had your tight end that was injured. This might not seem, you got a tight end that was injured. Now I think he just got back, Juwan Johnson. People might say, well, Taysom Hill, he's not. Taysom Hill's a big part of their team and the things that they do. He had been injured. He just got back. And then on defense, absolute train wreck of injuries. So I look at that team, they could, but they ain't not far away. I mean, those are not flukes, those games when they came out like that. Now, whether they could have stayed like that, even if they're healthy, I don't know. But according to their schedule and how things were, they should have been a top flight team. But I don't know what happened. I never seen a team get hit with injuries that quickly, with not just injuries, but top flight guys. Your top flight offensive lineman, your defense gone, your quarterback. When you know that's big deal right there.
Well, it looks like their quarterback will be back.
Yeah, this week, right?
This week.
Yep. And I mean, he's been out for about 4 weeks or so, 4 or 5 weeks. That's you can't lose a guy like that and go. And there's nothing against Rattler because you can see him start to improve each week, but he's a rookie, so it's rough for him to come in and try to get that going. I don't know, but those other teams, I think they're, your Carolina, they're going to be.
Well, when you look at the Saints, real quick on their injuries, this is how it looks like Olave will be back. He's not listed as injured. However, Marshawn Lattimore's out with a hamstring. Kool-Aid McKinstry is out with a hamstring.
It's both starters.
They're both corners, and they're gone out for the day for this game. I'm not sure how they are so long. But anyway, they're not playing. Wide receiver Bub Means is also out with an ankle. Kendry Miller, running back, is out.
He's out again.
Jamal Williams, running back, he's doubtful with a groin injury. Shane Lemieux, guard, is questionable with a knee. Cornerback Rico Payton is questionable with a back. That's the other corner. That's 3 corners that are 2 are out, 1's questionable. D tackle John Ridgway, he's questionable with an oblique.
And he was a starter.
And then the guard, Sal Dervivi, is out or questionable with the shoulder. And finally, linebacker Sewell is questionable with the knee. So you're right. They're a mash unit. Is it the situation? The problem is they're down in a rabbit hole, sort of to speak, at 2-6. They're playing Commanders. Can they right their ship? And maybe if they can win a game here, get these guys back.
Yeah, maybe they can do something.
And hope Dennis Allen keeps his job, because he's, I don't believe they would fire their coach Dennis Allen
during the season.
I really don't think they would do that. So at the end of the day, can New Orleans kind of get back on track, or are they a team that, being 3-6, or 2-6. I shouldn't. And they're playing the Panthers at the Panthers, so you got two teams that are obviously down and out. And then can the Saints basically? No one's giving the Panthers a chance because they know it's a train wreck. There's these borderline teams, like I would say, like the Jets are one of them. Can the Jets right their ship and get back? They have the quarterback. They have the talent. Team. The talent is there. So. The roster's there. They are now 3-6.
Yeah.
You know, can they basically? Yeah. Can the New York Jets right the ship?
Nobody's teams that they're facing now, one of them might become over 500, but everybody is 500 or below right now. That's on their schedule. They're either 4-4 or below that they play for the rest of the season. So when you look at the schedule, you look at it and say, do they got enough talent that they could run? They could run the table. They could, but they're so erratic.
Okay, here's how the Jets play out. Speaking of the Jets, they basically next, I believe their next game, their bye next week. No, I'm sorry.
Probably because they played Thursday.
No, I'm back off. They aren't bye. They're not on the bye. They have Arizona next week. Mm-hmm. That's 4:25 at Arizona. That could be a win. They've got Indianapolis at home on Sunday night. So the question, obviously, we'll get to Indianapolis because they've had a quarterback change, which I could see, you could see that one coming.
Yeah.
Flacco is now the starter. Then the Jets have the bye week. So they have Arizona, a winnable game, the Indianapolis Colts, a winnable game. But with Flacco now the quarterback, I think the Colts are better. However, for the sake of the discussion, these are two very winnable games. They're out. They have Seattle at home, winnable. At Miami, I think is pretty much, they look like they're done, but there are probably some Dolphin fans out there that think they can get back into it. Okay, winnable game. Jacksonville, winnable. That's the following week. They host the Rams. They're at Jacksonville. They host the Rams. This is December 22nd. Okay, at Buffalo and in Miami home.
And with Buffalo being the only team.
And Buffalo's probably the only team there you could say. Team. Right.
Yep. So, but their roster is good enough to beat all those teams.
And that's the question. Exactly.
That's the thing. And even Buffalo, they could actually beat them.
Yes, they could.
But they just, I don't know who's showing up.
If they had the field goal kicker, they beat Buffalo.
From before.
They would have beat Buffalo Monday night if the field goal kicker makes two kicks.
Yep.
Did not. They lose. Game they should have won.
Yep. I forgot about that. Yes.
They were in that game. Should have won the game if the field goal kicker doesn't hit the uprights twice. And the Jets lose 23-20.
And they should have beat New England, had that.
And they should have beat New England and they should have beat Denver.
Yeah. So that's three games.
That's 3 games that you hate to lay it all on the kicker.
But it would have been 6-3 instead of 3-6.
Right. That's it.
That's a major difference.
Yeah. That's because of a kicker.
I know you hate to do it, but you almost got to, though.
You have to.
Because that's all they do.
Right. That's their job.
Their job is they get paid pretty good just to kick it through the upright. Now, I'm not downplaying because they're a big part of the team. They're a big factor, and they can't do their job well. That really hurts. I forgot all about that Buffalo game.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Then when you bring up the other ones, and I knew they should have beat New England. And then when you brought up the Denver, I forgot about that early in the season. All those games they should have won. And if they had done that, they'd be 6-3 right now. And right in the thick of everything. So, they just got to play together, stay together, because now if they get Devontae Adams going with Garrett Wilson, and Breece Hall and get the Allen, the other back, and they got so much weapons that they can really get going. And then if the defense play to the level that they should, they're right there. They'll be one of those teams we be talking about. You don't want to play them. You don't want to play, but we just don't know what New York Jet team is coming out. I don't know. I have no clue.
At times they've looked dismal. They've looked uninspiring.
Yeah, that's
football.
why I don't understand it. Because they got too much talent to be like that.
Everybody, they talk about the roster. It's one of the best rosters in football. They built it. They went out and got the wide receivers. I mean, it's just an array of wide receivers. They have still, Rodgers can show you he is one of the best quarterbacks still in the league. He still has it, although he is slowed down with the Achilles, but he can still make those throws like he did Thursday night.
And those throws right. And there were some guys dropping them too, weren't
they were, and that's what I mean.
I mean, they're right on target.
And they were right on. I mean, Rodgers still. You see, the thing what people need to realize is how quarterbacks, they throw a catchable ball, not too hard, not where the receivers talk about that.
Yeah,
like you see some quarterbacks can have a great arm and throw a great accurate pass, but it's a hard ball to catch. Rodgers, and there's Brady and Rodgers, I'll put them in where they throw the ball, not only is it accurate, but it's very catchable. Like the receivers, it's not hard where it's bouncing off the receivers' equipment and arms and hands. It's like right in their hands, but it's very catchable.
Yeah.
Where they can get the ball is like it comes into them and they can, get it, catch it, and basically a lot better than maybe some quarterbacks that throw. Like I think Justin Fields throws a ball, but he doesn't. It's not catchable. Like he throws it accurate sometimes, but it's a hard pass, and sometimes the receivers have a trouble catching it. I just use them as an example where a Rodgers and say a Brady, and you can maybe name off a few others, throw balls that are very catchable, and there's a difference. And in a clutch situation, when you need that convert to third or the fourth down, guys like Rodgers will throw that ball, and those wide receivers can catch it easier.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's a difference in a game. As we've seen these games in the NFL, the games are just the teams are so really close as far as even when we start bad-mouthing the other teams that are being lousy, on any given day they can win.
Oh, yeah. That's the
and
NFL.
We've seen it.
That's the difference.
Let's slide over to Baltimore, the Colts. I love to call them the Baltimore Colts. That's just because you grew up. I grew up with the Baltimore Colts, but that's many years ago. It's 40 years. They've been in Indianapolis for 40 years. Not like the Chargers, but anyway, Richardson is basically benched. They brought in Flacco, and the sad part with young quarterbacks that need the reps, you can't, in the NFL, you don't have the luxury to kind of like go through training. You got to win games.
Yeah.
And Flacco gives them the better chance to win. He's a better quarterback. It's simple. Not to say Richardson won't be a good quarterback.
Right.
But he just, he's kind of struggling a little bit. He didn't get, you see, the thing though, when he was drafted, the only thing, he didn't have a lot of reps. He didn't have a lot of games under his belt at Florida.
Right.
I was kind of concerned. I said, he's, 6'4", 245, a big kid, moves around, athletic, and can move around in the pocket. He's just having trouble making the throws. And it's the NFL, so I'm sure he's still adjusting to the speed of the game, which you always hear. But he just didn't have that many reps or games under his belt in Florida. Now he's in the Colts. He's struggling. Now the question is, future, is this somebody they're going to keep, or is he going to be kind of a casualty of kind of the NFL? And is he going to be kind of on the bench and then ultimately forgotten? Or does he keep him because he's got that rookie contract, and they can potentially maybe, bring him back or maybe compete next year unless Flacco gets hurt this year.
I just don't understand team, but I mean, it seems like it's a pressure thing now that if we draft him in the first round, we got to get him on the field quick. But they got 5 years under that rookie contract. When you're a first-round draft, so let me make sure I make that clear. First rounder. Right. So if he's a first rounder and he got 5 years, I would be doing this, especially a guy like him. I look and see he's a raw talent. You can see he can make every throw there is without a problem, and he's elusive. He's all that. But I would have signed Joe Flacco to be my starting quarterback, and hopefully I can get 2 years out of Joe Flacco. It would have been this season, next season. Well, he can't. He was a rookie last, but I'm just saying if it was just his rookie, let's say this was his rookie year.
He was hurt. That's
right.
true. All last year he was hurt.
Yeah, so he's basically still a rookie. So I would have Flacco starting, and then Flacco starting the next year too. Especially because I got a team. You can't have all these veterans here that put in their time, having an opportunity to get to the playoffs. You're wasting their years. They're a little further along. You're wasting years. You got a certain window. So try to get in there and let that team build.
If you want to stay on top of your health, one simple thing to do.
That's interesting. Well, here, baby. Take a little look.
That means I guess there's a break coming up. We'll be right back after this timeout on the Saturday morning sports page, Western Reserve Radio.
Meludic Live is your home for high school sports. We have all the scores on our social media platforms throughout the games. Enjoy our timely updates from local area schools year-round. You won't get the consistency and reliability from anyone else. Our number one priority is servicing our fans and getting them live news as it's happening. Follow us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Meludic_live. And remember, our fans come first.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the right seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
This is Jerry Snodgrass, Executive Director of the Ohio High School Athletic Association. One of my long-standing goals is to help people understand that high school sports are about so much more than wins and losses. The OHSAA promotes education-based athletics, where sports are an extension of the classroom. Our schools all want to win. There's no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, it's all about sportsmanship, leadership, and making certain that academics are a priority. Thank you for your support of high school sports in Ohio.
Saturday morning sports page, Pat Lucia, Dave Clark, back at you. Let's go ahead and hit the phones. I think we've got Irish Mike. You're on the sports page. What's up?
Good morning, Pat. Good morning, Dave. How you guys doing?
Hey, Irish Mike. What's happening?
Nothing, guys. What's going on?
Oh, we were just kicking around the NFL and Anthony Richardson being on the bench for Joe Flacco.
Oh, yeah. That's not a surprise right now.
No, not a surprise.
You wonder, with Bryce Young in Carolina, with Richardson, you say you're not moving on from these young guys, and I get that, but I think we'd all be surprised if Bryce Young's in Carolina next year, and I think that would be the best thing for him in his career to move forward. But you almost got to say, Richardson only played 3 or 4 games last year before he got hurt, and he's only had 7 or 8. I always thought you needed 25 to 30 starts in NFL career to get a gauge of where you're at, good, bad, or indifferent. Well, we have a lot more impatient NFL now than we had 10 or 15 years ago, that's for sure.
Yeah, and then, Richardson's, he only really played 1 year in college. He played like in 2020. He played. There was 4 games he didn't start any. He threw.
Yeah.
It basically completed 1 pass on 2 attempts, so that doesn't count almost. 2021, he really didn't play much then either. He only played 1 full season. That was 2022, where he played 12 full games and he had 6 and 6. And then, he basically he threw for 2,500 yards. He had a 53% completion. He really didn't have a lot of college reps. And historically, when you start looking at a lot of these players, they always go back, well, how many reps or how many games did they start in college? And, the number like 20, I've heard, they said they want at least 20 to 25 college starts, the more the better. And it seems like players less than 20 college starts struggle in the NFL. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens to him. So it's the Joe Flacco between now and the end of the season, unless he would get hurt. And then obviously over in the Cleveland, we didn't even get to that, but since you're on, we'll talk. Jameis Winston won his first game over the Ravens.
Yeah,
and are some of the fans, maybe, can Cleveland, we're talking about teams that have been down and out in the NFL and the seasons are over. And I would say, I would throw Cleveland in that category, but I really don't, because I really think now that Jameis Winston is playing, they beat the Ravens. I don't know. Maybe Cleveland can right their season here and get.
That shouldn't have been a surprise to people, Pat.
No.
The Ravens played Tampa on Monday night. They were on a short week. They had the back-to-back games on the road. Sometimes that catches up with you in the NFL. So people, sometimes you have to read the schedule and how many teams. I think last year, remember we talked about the schedule at the end of the year, how it benefited the Ravens. They went like a 21-day time period where they only played like 2 games in 21 days. So they got a lot of reps and got a lot of guys back. So sometimes in the NFL, the schedule does catch up to you.
Oh, no doubt. Yep. And I don't know if that was maybe that was the reason why they lost.
I thought that a little bit. They was flat.
But they were flat.
I thought that was.
And Cleveland got a little burst because of Jameis. It helped Cleveland. Jameis Winston gave them a little bit of a shot in the arm, sort of to speak. They played better.
And hey, Dave Clark, doesn't what happened in the last minute of the game against Baltimore last week summarize Jameis Winston's career? With about a minute left to go in the game, he threw a surefire interception to Kyle Hamilton, right? Yeah. And that more likely would have ended the game right there. Right. The next play, he throws a 42-yard touchdown pass.
Yeah. I mean, that was right to Hamilton. It shocked him. It got on him so quick.
I think you caught him by surprise.
Yeah, he was shocked. Because he would usually grab that.
Intended receiver.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I think it caught him totally off. He was like, oh.
Yeah, I don't think he expected the ball.
In football right now, right? I mean.
You're right.
Yeah, he is.
That's Jameis Winston, and that's his career in a nutshell. When he was with Tampa Bay, he said, I think that was an NFL record, 30 interceptions and 30 touchdowns. No one's ever done that.
Yeah. No, they never duplicate like that.
No.
But he's one of those guys that's like Brett Favre was always. I mean, he got, we know Brett Favre got way better later, but he was always a guy that says, I don't care how small the window is, I can get it in there. And that's how Winston is. That's why he threw a lot of interceptions. And, I that's one thing. I'm not a Peyton fan. When I say Peyton, I'm talking about the coach, Coach Peyton at the Saints. But he did help Winston scale back his mistakes and stuff like that. But and he didn't throw as many interceptions when he was a starter in New Orleans because he didn't force it a lot of times. But some of those habits come back sometimes, and he tried to squeeze one past Hamilton.
No.
And I think it just caught him off guard. That ball got on him so quick.
That's what happened.
It's like boom, it's here.
You guys, Dave, do you and Pat think? Obviously, the trading deadline's 4:00 on Tuesday, the 5th, on Election Day. And do you think? And I'm not trying to make you laugh, but I think a lot of people expect the Browns to unload some veterans that, in last year of a contract. But I don't see that it has. They talked about Darian Smith, the defensive end, going to places. Maybe the defensive back, Newsome, who was a first-round draft pick 4 years ago, and, they don't like as much as they did a couple years ago. But I don't see that happen as much because, with all these things going on with Deshaun Watson, Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski are on the semi-hot seat, so they want to win as many. Obviously, no one thinks they're going to make the playoffs this year. But if they can get up to 6 or 7 wins compared to having a season where they go 4-13 or 5-12, and they might get fired, I think they're going to hold on to some of these. Even though people say it's better to get a 4th or 5th round draft pick in the future and acquire those picks to help you move up and get better players in the future, I think these guys are semi-worried about their jobs as well. So I don't think we're going to see a sell-off of 2, 3, 4 players by Tuesday. Do you guys?
No. And what's their record right now? What is it? The Browns?
2-6.
Yeah, they're 2-6. They
2-6.
have the Chargers this week at home.
But that's 9 games left, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think you mail it in. I don't. I think they can compete with some because the problem to me is the defense was on the field too much. Right. There was a lot of 3-and-outs. So when you're doing that, and now you have some kind of semblance of an offense moving the ball and keeping the defense off, this team still, you look up and down their roster, they still have a very good roster. So they can win some of these games. And I think, if they do any kind of wholesale, you might as well start looking and writing down, let's see who's going to be the new GM and new head coach next year.
Okay. Yeah. Let's get this real quick. You bring about we did it with New Orleans. But look, all right, let's look at the Browns' remaining schedule. They have the San Diego Chargers, the LA, we still call them San Diego Chargers on Sunday, 1:00. They have New Orleans next. They're a bye next week. Following week, the 17th, they have New Orleans at New Orleans, winnable game. Then they have Pittsburgh at home. That's a prime game Thursday, November 21st. That's a rival game.
Yeah, I always look at them splitting.
They could split that. Then they have at Denver on Monday night. You never know. Then they have Pittsburgh back at Pittsburgh the following. They play Pittsburgh 2 out of 3 weeks. Short week, yeah. Right. So then they have Kansas City. Who knows? Because Kansas, you never know. With Kansas City's probably going to win, but they don't blow people out. They keep them in the game and find a way to win. Then it's Cincinnati. At Cincinnati, they can win. Miami's a winnable game. Mm-hmm. Then they finish up at Baltimore. But, I guess if you're a fan, and what will be interesting this year, because the Jets win, they're 3-6. If Cleveland can win and they go to 3-6, now all of a sudden you're in competition. Maybe the Jets and Cleveland could be competing for that final playoff spot if they can right the ship. And there's so many tiebreakers get involved with all these other teams. Cleveland with their roster, especially now we have Jameis Winston at the quarterback spot, if they could start winning and get some momentum built with Winston, I still think Deshaun Watson was just, I think there were the guys in the locker room just were not happy with the way he was playing on the field. He was missing guys. The team looked lethargic. They looked a lot better Sunday when they beat the Ravens. And I think a lot of it was not having Deshaun Watson on the field.
And, Pat, I would say this to you guys last Saturday as well. So it's not – I would have said this the day or two before the Browns played the Ravens in Cleveland last week. So this statement's not from this week. This goes back a week or two. Whether you're the Baltimore Ravens, you're the Buffalo Bills, you're the Houston Texans, the Bengals, the Broncos, whoever you are in the AFC that thinks you're a, quote, contender, here's the reality. You're going to have to beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City sometime in the middle end of January to get to where you want to go.
That's correct. Forget
about home field for Baltimore or the Houston Texans or the Buffalo Bills. So that was a nice win for the, people said it was a devastating loss for the Ravens. I said, not really. They're probably still going to win the division. And the reality is, whether they beat the Browns or lost the Browns, they're going to have to beat the Chiefs in Kansas City in the middle end of January. That's just reality.
Well, I think the other thing with the Ravens, though, a lot of you look at their defense is suspect, and I look at the Ravens, and you're probably right. They may win the division, or really when you look at the numbers, because the Browns, the Steelers. Let's not put, let's not
people keep
count them out.
I'm never counting them.
Don't count them out. So they might,
Ever.
Steelers could win that division. Now that's true. So.
I'm not a Steelers fan, but I tell you one thing. That's one great organization and will play to the end.
Yeah. And they do. And they want to fire Tomlin. They always wanted, fans want to fire Tomlin. And I love it because the owner's not.
No.
that owner's just so funny because he's like looking at, he's almost like going, they ask him the question. He looks at him like, what, are you out of your mind? He's not going. And then when they say you're going to trade him to another team, like trade Tomlin, no, I'm not doing that. He's under the contract. He's coaching here. If he wants to sit out, he could sit out, but he's under contract here.
Yep.
He ain't going anywhere.
A kid made a comment in school later on Wednesday or Thursday. He talked about the Cavs' hot start in the NBA, 5-0, 6-0. And one of my friends said, and here's exactly what he said, and I'm quoting, he said, the Cleveland Cavaliers are the Pittsburgh Steelers of the NBA, meaning they're a good regular season team, but come April, they don't go very far in the play. That was the quote. So, and a couple guys said, that kind of makes sense. So that's the big bugaboo for Steeler fans is their playoff run in January more than what happens October, November, December, right?
Yeah. Hey, so let's slide over to the college ranks, Irish Mike. We got you now on the phone.
Yes. I got to get going at 10 o'clock. So
okay, let's get the picks out of the way real quick, and then we could do other. Oh, by the way, last week you were 4-5. Dave Clark was 5-4, and for some reason I was 6-3, and that makes no sense to me.
I was glad we all picked Navy in the points.
Yes, we all went for the Navy.
I was going to text you at halftime. That didn't work out.
No, didn't work out well. Notre Dame went in and just literally showed you that they're on a different level than Navy.
And the one comment Dave Clark made last week, and Dave, remember making this comment, I thought of you. It was midway through the first quarter, NotreAme was beating Navy 14-0. Remember, he said Navy can't fall behind early. Remember, he said that?
Yeah. And sure enough.
You're 100% correct.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you talking about downhill. It was. That snowball was moving downhill.
Yeah, that was way downhill quick. Downhill racer quick. Robert Redford movie. Old movie of Robert Redford.
We all worried about Navy's schedule. We said, hey, it's a great story, but, they're not playing against 300-pound defensive tackles either. You mean?
No.
So
no, different.
Right. That's a game of difference.
Yeah, different. Right. Navy, it is what it. Yeah, you don't have much of a schedule. You don't. Again, they're not on the level of Notre Dame. That's all.
And Pat, and 3 weeks, Army plays Notre Dame and the Yankees or November 23rd, 3 weeks from today. They have a great shot at being 9-0, 10-0, undefeated and going to that game.
Yeah, they might. Yeah, they could Army, and then they won't win in that game.
Yeah,
that undefeated season's gone. Let's get to our picks. Obviously, the big game of the day of so far, maybe one of the biggest games of the year, is Ohio State at Penn State. Ohio State is actually Penn State gets 3 points in Happy Valley. Noon at Fox, so there's no night game at Whiteout, which that would have made this harder for Ohio State. Ohio State looked lethargic last week, but won the game over Nebraska. Penn State disposed of Wisconsin 28-13. So they're both coming off wins. Ohio State 6-1, Penn State 7-0. Penn State could lose this game and probably win out, and ultimately they're going to get into the final 12. Ohio State needs to kind of win this game. I mean, their only loss has been 1 point to the best team in the country. Everybody hates Ryan Day, and once they will fire Ryan Day, because that's the way Buckeye fans seem to operate. But he's, and I'm not a big fan. However, you can't ride the guy that hard because, after all, what do you guys think? Does Ohio State go in? Do you want to lay the points and take Penn State, the home team?
No, who's getting the points?
Last year,
Penn State gets 3 points.
I'm taking
mid-November last year. Michigan played Penn State in Happy Valley. It was the first game of Jim Harbaugh's suspension, and I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dave. In the second quarter, second half, Michigan ran the ball 29 straight plays in a row. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Because they said they couldn't communicate. It was so hard to hear on the field because the crowd was so loud. They just ran the ball, and they were very physical at Penn State. And Ohio State's bugaboo now is can they run the ball? They're banged up along the offensive line right now. Correct, Pat?
Yes, they are.
True. I forgot about that, but
yep. So what do you think, Dave?
You got 2 of the 5 best running backs
still Ohio State.
And you're not been able to run the ball.
Yeah. I'm just until I see
Franklin win a big game.
Yeah, so I see him
that's
win
his
it.
rap. I know that's the rap on him. He can't win that.
There
big
you go.
Game.
I'm going Dave Clark with Ohio State as well, just for that reason right there. I'm going with Ohio State.
That's the only reason I'm doing.
James Franklin can't beat Michigan and can't beat Ohio State the last 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, and they have the roster, I think, to beat them, but it just doesn't happen.
No, I don't know what it is, but they're there.
Happen.
And Drew Allard's playing. That he will start.
He will start. Okay.
For Penn State. Yeah, I'll do Ohio State too. Let's move on to Mississippi at Arkansas. And Arkansas gets 8 points at home. Big dog. Home dog getting 8 points. Arkansas won.
Dangerous team,
beat
Arkansas.
Mississippi State. And then Mississippi beat Oklahoma last week 26-14. And Arkansas beat Mississippi State 58-25. So I don't know what you draw from any of that, but
I'm gonna take Mississippi.
Okay. And lay the points.
I'm going to take Arkansas.
Yeah, that's the day. I'm telling you, they are dangerous. They can score too.
They can score. They're home.
Yep.
I'll take Arkansas. I'll take the home team in the points. Let's go to Minnesota on the road at Illinois. Brett Bielema, head coach of Illinois, getting 3 points. Illinois, a home dog, getting 3 points. Coming off a big one last week, 38-9. Oh, coming off a loss last week, 38-9 over Oregon. Oregon pretty much dominated the game.
Yeah.
Not much of a game. And then Minnesota beat Maryland 46-23. Minnesota 5-3. Illinois 6-2. Illinois gets 3 points at home.
I'm taking Illinois at home.
I'm going to go with Illinois at home too.
Yeah, I will too. Yeah, I think, they're going to be home. I go that way. Let's go to the next up. Indiana, the undefeated Indiana Hoosiers playing Michigan State Sparty, and they're laying 8 points. So the home team, the Michigan State Spartans, are getting 8 points at home versus IU, who won last week over Washington 31-17, and Michigan State lost last week to their rival Michigan 24-17. So, gentlemen, how do you see this? I'll take the Hoosiers. I'll take IU and lay the points. And that's the Peacock.
I don't think
Michigan
that
State.
any of the quarterback's back yet. Remember the kid who got hurt, Dave, a couple weeks ago? I don't think he's back yet. I think they expect him back for the Ohio State game in 3 weeks from Columbus. I'm going to take Michigan State as a dog at home. I'll take the 8.5.
Is it 8.5?
8. Eight.
I'll take Michigan State at home.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do too. I still think Indiana's going to win though.
Won't cover.
And this won't cover.
I'll take.
I agree.
Let's move on. This is another interesting game. I think that's on Peacock 3:30. So you got to have the streaming service to get that game. IU and Michigan State.
Yep.
All about the fans. Oregon at Michigan, 3:30 on CBS. Michigan is getting 14.5 points. I wasn't going to put this on, but because of the point spread, when they get that high, I don't like you pick those, but I couldn't help. Yeah, so Michigan.
I think it's the biggest time Michigan's been a home dog, Pat. I read in 27 years or something. It's been ridiculous.
Yeah, a home dog, especially a double-digit home dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, where's our dog today?
I heard on the radio last night, Dave, that Will Johnson, the best cover corner for Michigan, is most likely not going to play. If he does,
Give me
he's
Oregon.
very limited. He's a first-round draft pick. So
Yeah. How many points was it again?
14.5.
Cover corners against Oregon. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I'm going Oregon.
And even if he was playing, he only can cover one receiver.
He only cover one.
They got so many weapons.
Quarterback's really good.
Yeah.
That team is just loaded up.
Yep.
I like. What do you say, Irish Mike?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Oregon as well, just because Michigan has major issues throwing the football all year long.
Yeah, they can't
major
throw the
issues.
ball.
No matter who they play, they can't pass the ball.
Right. And they have to against that team.
I know. Yeah.
Somewhere you
put a
got to be a
point.
threat at least.
If you can't score against them, you're in trouble.
Yeah, real trouble. Florida at Georgia, the cocktail party.
Yeah.
It's in Jacksonville. So
Right.
always there. But Georgia's laying 14 in a hook, another big spread.
That's not the cocktail party. That's the route party.
Yeah, that's the route.
I'm taking Georgia.
Pat, I'm going to go with Florida in the points. They've been playing better. I know Billy Napier's job's on the line, and their schedule from November is completely brutal. We've been talking about this for 6 months with Florida Gators. Their November schedule's brutal, and Napier's job's on the line. But I think they've been playing better. I think Georgia wins, but I'll take the 14.5 from Florida Gators.
Okay.
That's a big number.
Yeah, it's a big number. I'll still take Georgia. Texas A&M at South Carolina, and South Carolina's getting 3 points. Home dog getting 3 points. A&M, big win last week against Brian Kelly and LSU, 38-23. And South Carolina was off last week, but prior week they beat Oklahoma 35-9. So,
and let me tell you guys, if they have 3 losses, but South Carolina got ripped off against LSU at home a month ago, a game they should have won, and they should have beat Bama and Bama. This sounds like a catchphrase, but South Carolina may be the best 3-loss team in America.
You might be right.
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm being dead serious.
you're right.
I've watched them play. They're pretty good.
Yeah. This might be a better game than people realize.
I know. That's the 7.
Yeah,
it's
correct.
7:30.
Wow. What's the line, Pat, again?
It's South Carolina gets 3 points at home.
Well, I'm going to take South Carolina.
Home dog.
Texas A&M had a big win at home. Their mental letdown going on the road in Columbia. I'm going to go with South Carolina Gamecocks in this one.
That's a hard one.
A&M's coming off a big win. Could they be a letdown at home when they beat LSU last week?
Yeah, I know that's.
Could that be a letdown, or do they keep rolling under their coach Elko, who's done an unbelievable job?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay with A&M. It's kind of hard because South Carolina is pretty good. They are.
Yeah, I'll bite on. I'll take South Carolina at home. I think you're right. I think they're going to keep this close. Might it be a push game, but I'll take South Carolina and take my chances. But you're right. I think A&M is the better team.
Yeah,
Louisville at Clemson, 7:30 ESPN tonight, and Clemson is laying 10 points. So Louisville's on the road getting 10 points at Clemson.
I'll take Clemson.
They've been playing lights out.
Yeah, I'll take Clemson too.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
I'm going with Clemson.
I just think they're the better. And finally, 8 o'clock, we don't, well, if you have YouTube, you'll get it probably, but you don't get it. Cable. ACC Network, good game tonight. Pitt at SMU, 8 o'clock. And SMU is actually laying, Pitt gets 7 and a hook on the road at SMU.
Wait, Pitt gets 7 and a hook?
Pitt is getting, at SMU, they get the 7 and, they're getting 7 and a hook. Pitt gets 7 and a hook on the road.
Yeah, wait. SMU they only got 1 loss, don't they?
Yeah, they're both, this is a good game. SMU is 7-1 and Pitt is undefeated.
Yeah.
Hey, last week SMU they played Duke at Duke, and they turned the ball over 6 times and still find a way to win in overtime over Duke.
Wow. Yeah, no.
Think about that one.
They can play. I'm
going to go with, actually, Dave, I'm going to go, Pat, I'm going to go with SMU at home.
And lay the hook, and lay the
Another
points.
team that flies under the radar is pretty good, SMU.
Yeah, they are under the radar. There's no doubt. I'm going to take Pitt. It's a hook on there, right?
Yep. Pitt gets the hook.
I'm going to take the hooks.
That hook is a big thing.
They hook me in.
That might. I'm going to hook me in. I'll hang with Pitt. I like Pitt. I think they've been playing good. They got a good line. I think he's done. They're a little underrated because they're in the ACC. But I would like to see Pitt win the ACC. Then have the committee have to debate between taking at least 2 teams from ACC, Pitt and Clemson, because that's where they're headed.
Yeah.
Because now Clemson got just the 1 loss, right?
And that was that Georgia loss beginning of the season.
So you got that, and
But
Miami is undefeated too. All 3 of them. And
Miami.
somebody else too, isn't it? No, that might be it. That might be just 3.
That's it. Yeah.
We got a lot of collision courses coming here.
I'm telling you.
Because Clemson plays Pitt in 2 weeks at Heinz Field.
Oh, yeah. Well, everything, the dust to get settled soon here.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And then what's going to
collision courses?
Yep.
And then what will?
If you think about the game in Happy Valley today, Pat, the winner of this game has the major inside track to play Oregon in the Big Ten title game, because this is 2 games, right, Swing? Because the first tiebreaker is head-to-head when you play competition. So whoever wins this game is actually have a 2-game lead over the other opponent. That's why it's a huge game for both Penn State and Ohio State.
Yeah. Very, and this is where, when you look at the Big Ten, and in Indiana obviously has to play at Ohio State the game before Michigan. So you're right. The Big Ten is going to be like really.
Penn State doesn't have any losses, Pat. Ohio State does against Oregon. If the Buckeyes drop today's game against Penn State, then you're in must-win the rest of the season, even to get in the playoffs, right? You have to win the rest of your games no matter what.
Yeah, they don't have any choice.
Yeah.
If they lose today, if the Buckeyes lose today,
they don't have any other choice.
They're in trouble.
Yeah, they have to win out.
They're obviously in major trouble getting a Big Ten championship game than in most Oregon versus Penn State. You know what I mean? Because you played both those schools and you lost to them, so you're 2 games behind them, not 1, because head-to-head tiebreakers, the tiebreakers head-to-head competition. So you're strongly looking at an at-large bid, and maybe not even playing a game in Columbus. You might have to go on the road, and then you have to win 4 games, not 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's where you're right. And then you got to win 4 to get in, and if you don't, they probably fire Day.
Yeah, I hate to say that, but
they want to fire him so bad.
I shouldn't even laugh. That's probably what would happen.
Day runs a chance of getting into the title game, losing the title game by a point, and getting fired. That's how bad they want him out.
Hey, let's face it, Pat. You know this. They were a 26-point favorite home last week against Nebraska. We got beat by 49 points the week before on the road at Indiana, and they're losing in the middle of the fourth quarter. Yep. If Ryan Day lost last week, my buddies claimed after the game he would have been fired.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean.
That's what they told me. He would have been fired.
I believe it. I believe that. I believe that if he would have lost the game to Nebraska last week, he doesn't get off the field as a coach. They fire him. Right, he doesn't even get in the locker room. They would have fired him right on the field after the game.
I think Ohio State wins in Happy Valley.
Yeah, I think so. That's where the pressure is. You're right.
Yeah. Hey, Dave, Pat, thanks for taking my phone call. You two do have a great weekend.
Thanks.
All right, you too, buddy.
All right, Irish Mike. That's our college football for today. Saturday morning sports page. It's halftime. Back after this.
You're listening to WRDB, Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, Warren, Salem, and around the world.
Green light, let's get it. Green light, let's get it. Green light, let's get it.
The Mahoning Valley Federals is the area's minor league football team. After only 2 years in existence and an appearance in the league playoff semifinal game, the Federals are looking to add Valley High School and college talent to help take the next step toward a league championship. For more information on how to become part of the Federals' journey, go to Facebook at the Mahoning Valley Federals Developmental Football Team or contact General Manager John Galbraith at 330-540-1099. The Mahoning Valley Federals, honoring the football tradition in the Valley.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
The Mahoning Valley's leader for golf, Milk Creek Golf Course, is now booking tee times for 2024. We offer stay and play opportunities available with 9 area hotel partners. For more information, visit our website at millcreekmetroparks.org. Also, look for new, exciting opportunities coming soon, including an indoor player development center with Trackman, an indoor Callaway Club fitting center, and an Odyssey fitting studio in 2024. Follow us on Facebook at Milk Creek Golf Course or call 330-740-7112. Nina's Pierogi House is your home for the area's best variety of pierogies. Daily specials include the Polish platter, the Hungarian platter, stuffed cabbage, and halushki. Having a last-minute get-together? Lena's has you covered with a wide variety of frozen take-home pierogies and dumplings. Go to Facebook at Lena's Pierogi House to see the weekly lineup of available flavors for dine-in or carry-out. Catch the best at Lena's Monday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Tuesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 20 North Main Street in Hubbard or call 234-254-8532.
Saturday morning sports page coming right back at you. 330-707-4202 to get in and talk sports. We do it every Saturday morning here on Western Reserve Radio. Dave Clark. So anyway, looking at our football, the NFL, let's look at our picks. Week 9, a lot going on in the NFL. Teams are obviously, are they going to be sellers or buyers maybe this week will dictate.
Yeah.
We'll get a better idea of sellers and buyers. If the Jets would have lost Thursday night, they did not.
Well, we know this weekend because if they need to get some draft capital, the trade deadline is Tuesday, so they'll be going at it on Monday.
Yeah, I think, and that's what's going to be real interesting this year come Tuesday is these teams that lose that are like the Giants, the Miami Dolphins, the Raiders, and we'll get to them, the Patriots, the Titans, Panthers. When you start looking at them right now, the Jags, after that, I think the rest of them are all in play not going to sell off. But those teams I've just mentioned, and then I don't know if you could consider the Cowboys in that. If they lose to the Falcons, the Cowboys are just not a good team. But if they get Parsons back and Lawrence back,
I mean it's going to help. But
they're still deficient,
though. Something's just not right.
They don't win when they want Dak Prescott to throw the ball 30, 40 times a game. They're not going to win.
And they shouldn't. And most teams don't.
And they don't have a running game. They never addressed it in the offseason.
You know what? And you're right. And just think about it. We've been watching football for years. And the only team that I can remember that could win, and you knew they was throwing 40 times a game in my lifetime that I could think of, consistently win, is the Miami Dolphins with Dan Marino.
Right.
And he had a little semblance of running game a little bit of times.
Right.
He had some guys back there that could run, but they threw the ball 40. You knew they were throwing, and you still couldn't stop them. Most teams got to have a balanced attack, or they might be a little bit more pass heavy, but they have a good running attack. Dallas made the first mistake they did is when they paused and said, well, I don't know if we want Derrick Henry.
That might have been their biggest mistake.
Yeah, because they never got a serious back that you could be worried about. You think if Derrick Henry is in that backfield, does Dak Prescott play better? Probably so, because you're going to have play action working for you all the time.
But Jerry said that he wouldn't fit in the offense.
Right.
Jerry said that offense, because someone asked him the question.
Yeah, and he said he wouldn't fit.
He wouldn't fit in with that offense.
Yeah, because, you got to think, Jerry's one of the best GMs that ever...
by far. Yeah.
This guy. Man, now you tell me if Jimmy Johnson would have said something as crazy as that.
No.
Jimmy Johnson would have used Derrick Henry the best way he can to make him be... because that's what they need. They need somebody where they can have some ball control. And
they don't have it.
They don't have it.
And then it puts, they can't... I watched the 49er game on Sunday night, and I thought for a minute, the Cowboys would win, but then second half, San Francisco has the ball. They score 3 touchdowns in their first 3 possessions in the second half.
Yep.
Pretty much put the game away.
Yeah.
Because the defense has got a fair amount of deficiencies, but the offense couldn't do anything, so the defense wouldn't go back on the field.
Right.
So, and then you could see the momentum shift, and once San Francisco kind of figured it out.
And they couldn't run at all, Dallas.
No.
They started off the Ezekiel nice run when he first. I was like, oh, wait a minute, they might be. But that didn't last long at all.
Didn't last.
Didn't even last past the first quarter really that good, and that was it.
That was it. So Dallas goes to Atlanta this week, 1:00 game in Fox TV.
That's a tough one too.
Falcons lay 3 and a hook.
Yeah,
which I thought was interesting. But the question is, this is a situation where obviously right now when you look at the landscape of the AFC or the NFC South, you got to look at Atlanta winning that division. I think Tampa Bay's got the injuries in the wide receiver position. They're going to be kind of tough.
Yeah.
But I think Atlanta will probably win the division because you got to know New Orleans and the Panthers are out.
Right.
They're not going to compete. So it's really going to come down to Atlanta and Tampa. And right now I give Atlanta the slight edge in winning the division. I believe, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play Sunday night. That's the other thing. They play Tampa Bay plays Sunday night at the Chiefs. 4-4, and they don't really have any wide receivers for Baker to throw the ball to.
I mean,
Godwin's out for the year.
Yeah. You know, I like
getting
a couple
back
of guys they got.
Dallas,
they're not the big threats that they need.
But get back to Dallas. Dallas at the Falcons, 3 and a hook. What do you feel? I mean, that hook bothers me.
I know.
And, you know, I'm almost looking at Dallas as a team in a real bind here that they need to win. Like, they're in a corner here where because nobody thought the Washington Commanders were going to be that good. And now Dallas is staring at a potential not getting in the playoffs at all.
Right.
And because right now they're staring up at the Eagles and the Commanders. The Eagles righted the ship, won 2 weeks in a row, destroyed the Bengals last week, destroyed the Giants the week before. So the Eagles seem to have maybe righted that ship. But Dallas is kind of in a spot where they're kind of living limbo, losing, again, a bad loss to the 49ers. They've already had their bye week.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
And they have to...
I don't know what's going on.
So I
used to depend on them sometime on these picks. I'd be like, oh, they'll come back. They got this offense that could really... And I don't feel that no more.
And they're in Atlanta.
Man, so weather won't be a factor.
No, there's no weather. Tampa Bay won last week. They beat the Buccaneers 31-26. They're 5-3. So obviously, Atlanta's kind of looking at this game here is if we go 6-3, and we got to figure Kansas City will beat Tampa on Monday night, we can really we can get really a hand control on this division.
Yeah.
We can really get our hands around this division and control it because we can go to 6-3. Tampa will probably end up 4-5, and we know the Panthers and the Saints are going nowhere.
Yeah.
So they're done. So Atlanta's thinking, man, this would be the game of games if we can win this game. Because they're banking on...
Yeah, and everything says they should. I mean, the weapons on offense. You know, Kirk Cousins has been known to play well, and
he's a game home in the Dome.
Yeah, I mean, they should be able to. But something tells me does CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott go nuts or something? I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't think they have enough on offense. You know, they can still score. We know that Dallas can still score, but can they score with Atlanta? We know Atlanta can score and just might have a little bit better defense. So,
well, if you, I mean, if you want to look at the injuries real quick with Dallas, obviously the cornerback Bland is out, Micah Parsons is out, Jordan Phillips tackle is out. Trevion Diggs, the corner, is questionable with a calf. Linval Joseph, D-line, he's questionable with a back. Linebacker Eric Kendricks is questionable with a shoulder. Zach Martin, the guard, is questionable. He's got a shoulder issue. And then the other linebacker, Nick Virgil, is questionable with a foot. So they have a lot of injuries with Dallas. Atlanta's got the linebacker concussion. Bertrand is out with a concussion. Looks like Troy Anderson is questionable with the knee. Then their defensive end, Rook, I guess I won't go with the last name, Orahoro is out with an ankle. And then they've got a questionable, the center, Drew Damon, is questionable. Dahlman is questionable with an ankle. And the guard is questionable. Lindstrom is questionable with the knee. That's their injuries.
Okay.
I guess
Lindstrom is a starter for sure.
Right.
I still say that they should. It seemed like Atlanta should win it.
Right. Question is, will they cover the 3 to hook? That's the question. Part. The hook bothers me here on this one.
It just makes me think Dallas is gonna play up to, because they just got humiliated. I'm just gonna take Atlanta. Just forget it.
I will too. I was leaning on Dallas.
Yeah, to a certain extent I am.
I just don't have a lot of faith in them, and it might surprise.
Well, I want to see. I want to see if they're able to show something. If I lose that game, I want to see if they got some fight in them. Because right now they're just getting dominated.
And I think, what, you hate to say it, but they go 3-5. Now they were in trouble. They were in really potential. And then by the time Micah Parsons gets back, it might be too late.
Yeah, I don't know how many more weeks they got him in Lawrence, but that's a big factor. And even when they were there, they still was running. People still running through their their defense like it was nothing. So but they just so much they can turn a game because of their pass rush ability. They can really turn a game. Lawrence and
right, Micah can.
Yeah, they can just Parsons. They could just change everything. But I'm just gonna go because if Kirk Cousins has time, he's gonna pick people.
Yeah,
apart.
he will. That's one thing Cousins has basically shown us this year. He's really he can really dissect the team.
Yeah, he can
if given the time. So let's slide over to the next one. And this is at Orchard Park.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Finns at the Bills. Finns are getting 6 points at the Buffalo Bills. The Miami lost a brutal game last week to the Cardinals 28-27. And then the Buffalo on the road just disposed of the Seattle Seahawks 31-10. I don't know if maybe it's Seattle's not a very good team or not. I like the Bills. I'll lay the 6 points. I think Miami's offensive line is not good. I think, I hate to keep bringing Tua up, but, it's just a bad one hit. He could be done with the concussion. And that's how you got to look at it. I mean, if you're, looking at football and you see what Tua's like, and with those concussions that he's had, a bad history of that, I'm not picking against the Bills at home in Orchard Park.
It's too hard to do that.
But they're funny. They could have a letdown, and I could see Miami going up there and making it a game. And I don't think weather's going to be any issue at all.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be decent.
No, it's supposed to be
60 degrees, maybe.
Yeah, it's going to be like 50, 60 degrees. It's going to be a nice day up there, so it's not going to be a cold November day up in Orchard Park. Anything but.
Trying to, when you look at everything, you want to go at the obvious, and the obvious say take Buffalo.
Yeah, it's going to be 56 and sunny.
Yes, that's good football weather.
It's going to be. It's really going to be a good. Yeah,
it's
going to be a nice football day. That's it. In spring, 56 degrees with people. That's like early spring, late spring.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
56, and if you got the sun in Buffalo, 56, that's borderline summer. Up there for those folks.
Yeah.
They're hardy people. That's this day.
Yep.
That's a short sleeve shirt day.
Well, it'd be some guys back. It's going to be guys up there with nothing on.
Oh top,
with BUF.
Yeah, with the V.
Yeah, they're going to have the Buffaloes.
Yeah, they're going to be.
They'll be up there.
They'll be the face painters.
Yeah,
they'll be the Seinfeld. They'll be Putty.
Yep.
The Seinfeld.
I guess if I take Buffalo, just everything says take Buffalo. So Miami probably will win.
Yeah, Miami will probably, or that Buffalo won't cover.
Right.
Let's move on to the Raiders at the Bengals. Two teams. Boy,
I don't know.
I can't figure this out. Raiders, we know they're not very good. They're 2-6. They don't have a quarterback. Yeah. The Bengals have the quarterback, but their defense is bad. They got absolutely, they got beat bad last week by the Eagles, 37-17. Raiders hung with the Chiefs like they do with the rival, but lost 27. They actually outplayed. I thought they pretty much almost outplayed Kansas City to some
big mistakes in crucial times.
But
game they could have won.
That was actually a winnable game for the Raiders last week with the Chiefs, and they let that game slide away from them.
Yep.
And you don't have a quarterback per se.
No, it's bad.
So they
quarterbacks.
Yeah, I guess my question was, next week, who will be the? I should know this, but the Raiders, who's going to be their quarterback? Because have they decided?
Which had a finger injury, right? O'Connell.
Yeah, O'Connell had.
Because sometimes I know he makes some mistakes, but I'd rather sometimes go with him. He can throw the ball down the field. I I don't know, his timing is good.
Well,
Minshew usually is okay, but it just seemed like he's pressing to try to be, hey, I'm showing you I'm a starting quarterback. Just play like you was as a backup. You know, don't have no pressure on you. Just go ahead and play, and you'll do decent. He always been decent as a backup, or when he had to come in and step in a few weeks with people, but he's been out there looking horrific at times. I mean, just terrible. So,
yeah, and I guess that's the question.
I think I'll go back to I don't know. What did they sign him to? A 2-year Minshew to a 2-year contract?
I think it was a 2-year.
If it's guaranteed, you almost want to say you got to keep him and he'll be the backup for next year or something. Because if you get a top flight quarterback, they're probably going to start. You're not going to start Minshew.
No, and I think that's kind of what it is. I don't know with you lay the 7. Can the Bengals snap back against the?
I mean, everything tells me the Raiders are getting 7.
Yeah,
everything tells me to take Cincinnati. They should be. They're at home too, right?
Yeah,
Cincinnati.
Home. Cincinnati's home,
and they just got humiliated at home.
Oh, absolutely destroyed at home.
Yeah, they can't do that again. So I'm gonna take them. I can't see them doing that again. Even though it's against my time, just being real.
Well, the Raiders are coming east.
Yeah, and
there's a time change involved. We turn the clocks back.
Oh, yeah, I forgot tonight.
So we're going to flip the clocks
I
back.
all about that.
The Raiders are coming east. Now there's the time change on top of it. Will that have, you got to consider that. Will that have a detrimental impact on the Raiders with the time?
People don't think that really happens, but it does. I'm telling you, your body does certain things at certain times of the day. And if it's not used to doing that at that time of the day, it doesn't react well. So,
yeah, I'll go with you.
I'm just going to the Bengals.
I'll take the Bengals at home, even though a little part of me wants to take the Raiders.
Especially after I seen them playing like that, and they were in that game.
And the Bengals did not show up for the Eagles.
And they scored first.
And they scored
I think
first.
They were up 10-0, wasn't
they? They got the ball, yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
and then they fell apart.
Yeah, they just
and that
hammered
defense.
them.
See, what bothers me with the Bengals is their defense. The Bengal defense is really bad.
Yeah,
all year it's been bad.
Yeah,
and Burrow.
I don't understand it either.
And I don't. They're just not good defensively.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the Ravens. I don't understand because the defense. They made a couple changes in Cincinnati. They did have some injuries, I will say, but a lot of the guys are back. But they're like. Them in Baltimore, they like, I don't know how to tackle no more. You know, Roquan Smith is the only guy that knows how to consistently tackle week in and week out. That's what it seems like. The other guys be missing tackles, throwing their arm out there, stuff like that. I don't know what's going on. Bengals used to be something with that defense. They
were good defense.
Wilson and Pratt at the linebacker. Man, those guys now they be missing tackles, and I don't know what's going on.
Let's move on to the Bolts. The LA, we call them the San Diego Chargers, are playing at Cleveland. They came off a big one last week against the Saints, 26-8. And obviously the Browns, 2-6 Browns, had a really big win with Jameis Winston, their starter, 29-24. And obviously a game the Ravens thought they should have won. Mm-hmm. And from all points, it should have been a Raven win, but it's Jameis Winston, and the interception that Jameis looked like he threw was dropped, and then sure enough, Jameis throws the next pass for the TD, and then the Ravens can't respond, and sure enough, Lamar Jackson is throwing his helmet into the ground, shaking his head, and they walk off the losers, the Ravens, and the Browns pull one out. Now can they do it again this week against the Bolts? The Bolts had, again, a big win last week. They dominated the Saints 26-8. Not much of a game.
It's a 4:00 game, right?
No, this is a 1:00. This is 1 o'clock on CBS, an early game. Again, time change for the team coming west to east. Mm-hmm. Another team like, we always look at that, those teams, those West Coast teams coming east. The 1 o'clock starts can be a little rough for them.
Yeah, and it's
Browns get a 1.5.
That's all. Wow.
That's all. Browns get a 1.5, so it's almost an even game on top of it.
Well, we know the Chargers want to run the football, and Cleveland's not bad against the run.
No.
So Jameis Winston, he's going to complete some. He might throw a couple to the other team too. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
I'm going to take the Browns.
Me too. You read my mind. I'm going with the Browns.
I was going to take them.
I could be wrong. Maybe Jameis is. Maybe the Browns have turned a corner. I think that if Jameis Winston gets another win under his belt and the Browns go to 3-6,
they got to think. They got to think about it.
Then they got to think. Wait a minute. Why did we start Jameis Winston earlier?
Mm-hmm.
But now that we started, he's winning games for us. Deshaun Watson's gone out of the picture totally.
Yep.
And now it's the Jameis Winston team. He's the guy, and I think Winston starts winning football games. Can the Browns get back into the wild card race with the Jets? They're going to be fighting one another for that.
They like Winston. I mean, he's been everywhere he goes. Every teammate just loves this guy.
They say he's
even in Tampa when he was there, they love that guy.
Yep. Great locker room, great teammate. Yep. All the players.
Yeah, everywhere he's been,
all of them. They all love Jameis Winston.
When the Saints lost him and he left, there were teammates that did not like that. They were upset. Is this something they say he keeps the morale?
Yep.
He just keeps everything in upbeat.
He keeps it upbeat. It got kind of a great approach with the other teammates. They all like the guy. I mean, everybody likes Jameis Winston.
Well, I hate to say this because I don't want to say nothing against guys that are professionals like, Teller and the guys on the offensive line have been stalwarts, Conklin, all these guys. But they make me think they were really upset with Deshaun Watson because Jameis Winston was taking 5 and 7 step drops and survey. You could see he'd check down. No, let me go here. He's looking at all his reads. Deshaun Watson would take a 5 or 7 step drop. As soon as he planted his foot, somebody was in his mouth.
Yeah.
He was getting racked. They look like one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL.
Now they look
like the old offensive line that's blocking well. The running game is Chubb. You still got to get up to snuff, but you can see it's coming.
He's coming along.
You can see it's coming. And then Foreman, he's running like a beast.
Right, he's running good too.
So it just makes me wonder, we just didn't like that guy? And we didn't feel like blocking for him?
I think there's something to it.
But see, that makes me question their integrity, and I don't want to do that.
But you know what?
But
sometimes they play hard, but maybe because they really like Winston, there's that extra effort, like that little extra push.
Yeah.
And I think they played hard for Watson, but I think with Winston, because they genuinely like him, and he's the leader.
And it could change just their perspective of everything.
It gives a team seems to be rallying around him, like the offense is like rallying around him. Where I don't know if some of the players were rallying around Watson like they are Winston.
No,
and there's a little extra karma push, whatever you want to call that seems to be generating. And I wonder now. We're going to find out this week if they if they beat the Bolts. And that's going to be a tough game. But if they can beat the LA, we call them San Diego Chargers, if they can beat them and they get 2 games in a row, then all of a sudden this team is like, okay, we think we can play with anybody. And they have the roster to do it. It's a good roster.
Right.
Can they turn the corner? Let's go over.
Good.
We're coming up on our break. We have some time. Let's get the Patriots at the Titans, a 1 p.m. Fox. No, these teams are going nowhere, unfortunately. The 2-6 Patriots, the 1-6 Titans. Titans got absolutely just drilled last week by the Lions, 52-14.
Right.
Hey, the Patriots got a big win against the Jets last week, 25-22. They're getting 3.5 points on the road in Tennessee. Tennessee obviously needs to win a game. They're 1-6.
Yeah, I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna take the 1-6. Who started? I think May is out again. Is he?
No, Drake May he's questionable, I believe.
Okay.
He's trying. he's coming along with the concussion, and I believe he was questionable on the injury update.
And New England gets the points, right?
Yeah, New England's getting 3 and a hook. Will Levis is questionable for the Titans, so I'm not sure if he's going to play or not.
So
New England, they're not saying. I've got the injury report, and there's nothing in New England, so I don't know what is going on.
I don't know what
they didn't list anybody as being injured, so I don't know what they're doing. That
makes me think Drake may, because
he may play.
He gets that passing game going. They both run the ball, so. And the points is New England is getting 1.5 points, you said?
3.5.
Oh, 3.5.
They get 3 and a hook.
It makes me think about going with them.
And I don't know. As much as I probably.
I think I am going New England in a way. 3 and a hook make me want to go with that hook again.
I'm going to take the Patriots, and I'll take the 3 and a hook.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
I think it's a field goal game.
And that's what I think. I think both these teams are lousy, and it's just the degree of it. But I think the Patriots are going to keep it relatively close.
Yeah, I'm going to go that way.
You want the Patriots?
Yeah, I'm going to go that
way. Okay, let's move on. We're coming up on break. There's our music. Good. When we come back, we'll finish our picks on the Saturday Morning Sports page. Look at all the games as we do every week. Pal Lucia, Dave Clark. Fourth quarter coming up on the Saturday Morning Sports page on Western Reserve Radio.
Located in Applewood Estates in Boardman Township, the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club offers a pleasant family environment. Choose a membership that meets your needs and enjoy a relaxing venue that includes not only swimming for the family, but also youth activities such as competitive swimming, tennis, and more. Enjoy the friendly atmosphere all summer long with the staff and members of the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club. For more information, go to applewoodswimandtennis.com or call 330-953-2833.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio, take 1.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Want to know what I like best about high school sports? I love watching my son run on the field. I love the fact that since he's been playing high school sports, he's making better decisions. And I love knowing that with the proper equipment, education, conditioning, and coaching, high school sports here in Ohio are safer than ever before. And that's something I really love.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Saturday Morning Sports page coming right back at you, 330-707-4202. Anybody want to weigh in on our picks or anything on sports? Let's go to the Commanders at the Giants, Dave Clark, playing at MetLife Stadium at 1 o'clock. Fox T on Fox. Giants are getting 4 points, home dog. So we've got to make a big decision here.
For some reason, I'm taking the Giants. I don't know what the reason, but it's just guys impressed. They just so young, and they got players that they play hard. But that whether they can, stay with Washington.
They have a tendency to play Washington very good.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones, if they would have had a kicker, they win that other game. They held Washington to a bunch of field goals.
Right. Yep.
The only thing that kind of concerns me is Washington's offense. If they get going, they had a win. They won on the Hail Mary last week against the Bears, 18-15 game.
It seemed like the Bears had that.
The Bears had that
and really came back.
And that just is a brutal, excruciating loss to lose that way.
Yeah, it is. I want to see how they respond to that.
That's what
one could bother you all week.
I
think they need to get back on the field because that right there, that hurt bad.
Yeah.
Everybody was so they knew it. We got it.
No, they didn't.
Wow.
And then there was that questioning about the play, and he didn't call timeout. The coach, what's his name? Evil Flus, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. He just, then what he says to the press, what's he say to the press? Well, we thought we were okay. We had it. Then it turns out the players, we don't really practice that. And, then everybody's coming on saying, Jimmy Johnson practiced that every day. I think it was Michael Irvin was on a talk show. I think it was Colin Cowherd, and he says, we practice that Hail Mary every day, like practice all the time.
Yeah.
And, we had it, Johnson had it down to a T on what they were doing and where you were supposed to be. And even Phil Simms was talking about it yesterday on Mad Dog Russo's show when he was with Giants, how Parcells would practice that all the time, where players were supposed to be. And Phil was like a younger quarterback, and he goes, come on. Kind of like, give it a break. And the Parcells looked at him and basically told them that's what we do. And Sims goes, I never questioned it ever again. But he said they practiced that Hail Mary all the time.
Offensively they practiced?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had defense and offense. They had defense practice. I mean, they had both
teams. How to stop it.
Both to stop it and how to do it.
Yeah.
And he said that was a constant thing. They did it they did it every week. They practiced the Hail Mary defensively and offensively where players were supposed to be. Parcells, was drilling that thing down.
And that thing just tipped it. Guy was just waiting. Noah Brown just waiting.
Noah Brown was in the backfield. In the back there in the end zone waiting for it. And sure enough, it popped right into his hands. And there was really no one close to him per se.
No, he's back there behind.
And it was Zach Ertz who tipped it back to him.
Yeah, well, it looked like it went off of Stevenson, the Chicago defensive back.
And I guess that's what they were saying.
Yeah, and went off to him. He tried to get up, but he didn't swat it. It just went off his hand.
Went off him.
Yeah, you got to get up. And if you know you can get to that ball, not tip it, you got to knock it down.
The question I have then is, do the Commanders come back? And can the Commanders come back from that? They think they've got the offense, can really, hurt the Giants. The only thing that bothers me with the Giants, their offense, they can't score touchdowns. They have just been anemic they can't score.
Get in the end zone, they got to get in the end zone.
They can't get in the end zone.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And
they're getting out 3.
4.
4, you said. Yeah, that is tough.
All right, I'll go with the Commanders to come back. Although part of me says I should take the Giants. Yeah. I'll take the Commanders on the bounce back.
Well, they won. The Commanders won last week.
And they won. Yeah, right. They bounced back. What am I saying? It's the Bears. Yeah, I think the Commanders keep it going.
Yeah, and it's something that could catapult them just to...
Because they're 6-2 in the division.
Right.
And it haunts me because I'm looking at the Giants getting those 4 points. And could the 4 points... Could they keep... See, could the Giants keep this to a field goal? I just don't have a lot of faith in the Giants' offense
that's the problem.
My problem is what I'm afraid with the Giants is their offense has not been able to score. they're going to, if they keep putting the Commanders' offense back out there, because the offense can't, get first downs and move the ball and score touchdowns. I think that's where it's going to put too much pressure on the Giant defense, and the Commanders are going to score instead of kicking field goals like they did in the week number 2. It's going to be touchdowns because remember the Commanders did not punt the ball against the New York Giants the first time they played. They never punted the ball.
Right. Yeah, and that's not good.
And that's not good. They had I believe it was 7 possessions and 7 touchdowns. 7 field goals.
Yeah.
Because they had 21 points.
Yeah, all field goals. But is that going to happen again where they don't get in the end zone? Probably not.
No, and because you could see the Commanders are playing so much better with Jaden Daniels now. So it'll be...
Yeah, I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna take the Commanders.
Okay.
But I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna remember that.
Because I've got you down.
If
twice.
the Giants win, that'd be something.
Yeah, I don't know. I could be wrong. Or the Commanders don't cover. That's the part. The only part that has me kind of on the fence here is the 4 points.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the Saints at the Panthers. This is another annoying game because the Panthers are getting 7 and a hook at home versus the crappy Saints. And the Saints are a mash unit, but it is the Panthers, and they're just a disaster.
I don't know what I like their running back and Chuba Hubbard. That dude plays so hard. He don't act like he on a, what are they, 1-6?
1-7.
He doesn't act like he's on a 1-7. He's out there playing so hard, runs the ball well. I guess Bryce Young will start again. Did a lot better last week.
They have a boatload of injuries.
I just think I'm just going, man, that's a lot. 7 and a hook. And the Saints haven't been playing good at all. But I'm thinking, is Carr worth maybe 5 points?
Well, and there's your question.
At least 5 points. You think they should win by 3. Can he get 5 points from me?
Right.
I think he's worth 5 when you look at the quarterback.
When you look at the quarterback
difference. I'm just going to take the Saints because of that.
Yeah, I'll take Saints. Broncos at the Ravens. Boy, this is a lot of wood. 9.5 points. The Broncos get 9.5 on the road in Baltimore. Can the Ravens cover the 9.5? That's a lot of points.
I would normally say I think they would, but I know this past week, I know they're angry. This team going to come out angry. They are, but 9.5.
9.5.
They can score too. I know they can, but will they?
Bo Nix is improving every week.
Yeah.
They're on the road. I'm going to go with the Broncos. I like the point. I'll take all the points on the Broncos.
I know.
Thinking the Broncos can keep it under like to 7 points.
Yeah.
I think the Ravens come back this week and snap back. Both these teams are 5-3 though, which is it's funny because when you think about it, you don't think that. Like if I told you the Broncos and the Ravens have the same record, you think no, that can't be.
Yeah.
Because the Ravens are just so much better.
Right.
And they're on the road. The Broncos are on the road. They could go down there and get blown out like Buffalo was blown out on that one night game.
I know.
They walked into it, and Buffalo had really, tried to get back into it, but they had that fumble. Then it went downhill from there. And it's a young Bo Nix going into Baltimore.
They're going to be revved up.
And they're going to be cranked up and ready. Baltimore's mad because they know they gave a game away to Cleveland. And they know that they are better than their record is. Yep. And that's a bit of the problem. And do they come out and want to remedy that against the Broncos, who are coming in? They got the time change. They're coming in from Denver. Yeah. Does that have an impact on the Broncos? It could. Yeah. And I debate, but 9.5 points is a lot of points.
It's a lot of points. It definitely is.
And I could think that the Broncos could maybe keep this thing,
this is something I don't, because I do believe that. I think this is a mistake, but I'm going to do it. It came to my head, so I'm going to take the Ravens. But I just think it could be a mistake because the Broncos got to feel disrespected. 5-3, 9.5 points.
9.5.
Basically they're saying you get blown out down here. But I think it might happen. So I don't know.
Let's go to the Jags at the Eagles. Another nerve-wracking game.
Got to watch that one, too.
The Jags are getting 7 and a hook on the road in Philly. Doug Peterson's going back to coach against the old team. It's 4:05, late game on CBS. I guess, again, we're down to can they keep it close? Can the Jags stay within the 7 and a hook? They lost last week 30-27 over the Packers at home. Tough game. And then obviously the Eagles just ran over the Bengals 37-17. So the Eagles 5-2, 2-6. So, the Jags lose. Does Doug Peterson keep his job, or do they wait till the end of the year to fire him? Or they may be playing for his job. They probably are, to a large extent,
playing for,
playing.
He's on the definite hot seat.
For his job. He's definitely hot seat. The Eagles 5-2, 2 in a row. So they beat the Giants, and now they beat the Bengals, two kind of bad defensive teams. But that's the question's going to be, haunt all the people out there that are actually placing money on these games, which I don't do.
Jacksonville is coming to Philly.
Philly, yep, 7 and a hook.
7 and a hook.
Yep.
Wow. So, I'm going to go, man, these are some big point spreads, but I'm going to do it again. I'm going to give up 7.5 points.
You're going to take the Jags and lay the points. I mean, get the points.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
No,
you're going to take the Jags or the Eagles?
I'm going to take the Eagles and lay it.
Okay.
And that's something I want to put pressure on them. I just want to do. They got to play better. They did play well. They're looking better.
They have two injuries.
The Eagles?
Jacksonville's got a lot of injuries. The Eagles have 2 players out. Tight end Dallas Goedert is out with a hamstring. And Darius Slay.
I don't like that either.
He's out with a groin. So both players.
That's not good.
One on offense, one on defense.
And they're both key players.
And very key players. And then Jacksonville's got just in a row. They've got, Kirk, wide receiver. Christian Kirk's out with a collarbone. Mason Smith, D tackle, out or with an ankle. Cleveland line left guard's out with an ankle. Then the Tank Bigsby, the running back, is questionable. Gabe Davis is questionable with a shoulder, wide receiver. Travis Etienne is questionable with a hammy, the running back. And then the other running back is also questionable with a toe, Robinson. Got the guard out. Brandon Schiff is questionable. Not out, he's questionable. Then wide receiver Brian Thomas is questionable. And the safety, Andrew Weingart, is questionable with a knee. So there's a lot of injuries on Jacksonville. But
I'll just go with Philly.
And lay the
Goddard's
points.
not going to be there, but they're going to be throwing the...
Yep.
Smith and Brown's going to see a lot of balls coming.
I'm going to be...
Barkley, too.
I'll take the Jags. I think they could keep it close. I'm probably dead. This is probably not the game to do it, but my picks are always kind of questionable anyway. I'll take the Jags, knowing the Eagles will win. They don't cover. The hook may be the difference.
I done gave up big points on 2 games, but I'm just going to try it.
Let's try the Bears at the Cardinals.
This is dangerous, too.
-2. The Bears are on the road getting 2 points, coming off a horrendous grind. Maybe one of the biggest losses this year for them, as far as excruciating. I had the game won. We lose on a Hail Mary 18-15 in a game we came back and won. They didn't play all great, but they came back to win the game. Should have won the game, lose. Cardinals had another nail biter, but they pulled the game out against Miami. So they're 4-4. The Bears are 4-3, and the Cardinals lay 2 points. It's almost an even.
Yeah.
So the Bears get the 2 points here. And it's the 4:05 game on CBS. Jacksonville and the Eagles are also a 4:05 game on CBS.
This is a hard one.
Do you like, I guess, the Bears in Arizona?
I'm going to take because the Bears is going out west, right?
Yep. So,
man, they might can score, though, in Arizona, but they can score, too. Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona can.
Yeah, I'm just going to take Arizona. I don't know. It's a rough one. This
is a rough one. I agree with you. I'll take the Cards on this one. Lions are at the Packers. This is the 425 big game on Fox. Lions are actually the Packers get 3 points.
Now, I think they said Love is playing, right? I think they said that.
Yeah, he's questionable with a groin. They list him as questionable on the injury report.
Quietly have been playing very good. Very good, yes.
They won, again, the Packers.
This is in Detroit, though, right?
No, it's in Green Bay. Yeah, this one's at Green Bay. They're at Green Bay, Lions at the Packers, and the Packers get 3 points.
I'm gonna still take the Lions. I think they out to try to prove, especially in their division. They already took care of Minnesota. I think they want to show Green Bay we can beat you and beat you even at your home. I think they're trying to send a message to everybody.
Yeah. So I'm just checking it. Lions are at Green Bay.
Yeah.
6-1, and the Packers get 3 points.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with them.
You taking the Pack?
No, the Lions.
Yeah, I'm taking the Lions.
I want to give up the points.
I'll
send a message.
I'll lay the 3. Could be a push.
Yeah.
But Lions right now, they destroyed the Titans just last week. It wasn't even a close game. And then obviously I said the Packers had won 2. Let's move on to the Rams at the Seahawks. This is almost an even game. The Seahawks are getting a point at home. So Rams, the home dog, Seahawks, 1 point. So
who did they lose to? They got blown out.
Seahawks got blown out by the Buffalo Bills 31-10, and then the Rams beat the Vikings on Thursday night 30-20.
Yeah,
they had
their offense looked
their offense looked good. He looked really good. I
don't think Metcalf is playing this week either. Again, I think he's out again.
Let's see.
That's a big factor on your offense.
Matthew Stafford played really a really good game. Let's see. You were saying,
DK Metcalf, I think, is out.
Yeah, he's out. DK Metcalf is out with the knee. And Puka is questionable.
Yeah, with the knee. He got hurt in practice.
Yeah, he got hurt in practice. He's questionable with a knee. Noah Fant, tight end for the Seahawks, he's out with a groin. Tackle Abraham Lucas is out with a knee. Metcalf DK is out with the knee. Cameron Young is the nose tackle. He's out with a knee. Jeez. Wow. And then Ernest Jones, linebacker, he's questionable with a neck.
Something I wanted to go Seattle in a way, thinking they would bounce back, but I don't know.
I'm going to go to Rams.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I mean, especially, I think Puka is going to play too.
I think he will.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the Rams. The Seahawks have a lot of people. Thing with the Seahawks, they got a lot of players out.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you got your tight end who's really good. Noah Fant's solid tight end. He's out. The tackle, offensive tackle's out. Abraham Lucas is out. Then Metcalf is out.
Yeah, I know.
So you have your wide receiver and your tight end out. Then you got your nose tackle, Cameron Young, out. So you get 4 players, good players, out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you figure Ernest Jones is questionable. Linebacker will probably play, but you never know with that.
Right.
Let's go to the Sunday nighter, Dave Clark. Colts at the Vikings. 5 and a hook. So the Colts are getting 5 and a hook for the Sunday night game as they travel to Minnesota. And obviously we know Flacco is their quarterback.
I'm going to go with the Vikes. Yeah, I'm going to give up the 5. I just think
5 and a hook.
Yeah, I think they want to make a comeback after that situation that happened last week. And then, not only that, Flacco's at quarterback. The Vikings have a pretty good pass rush. He ain't getting away from that.
No, he's not going to run.
He's not getting away from that pass rush. So,
man. Yeah, I know.
That's what makes me want to take. That's the only reason I say that, because he's going to have to pass. But you got Jonathan Taylor. You can run it too. I mean, but I'm going to stay with the Vikes.
Yeah, I like the Vikings too. Mm-hmm. As much as part of me saying Flacco is just an unknown entity. He's like, he finds ways to win.
Yeah.
He does throw the interceptions, though.
Yeah, he will do that. Sometimes.
Let's move it to the Monday Nighter. And you've got the Chiefs and the Bucks. This is 8.5 points.
Wow.
Chiefs laying 8.5 to the traveling Buccaneers.
Wait, the Buccaneers coming into KC?
Yes.
No, I'm just taking it Kansas City. If Tampa Bay can stay in there or upset them, good luck. But I'm just taking them at home.
Yeah.
When all the lights is on and the only team playing, absolutely.
Lay the 8.5.
Yeah, I'm just going to lay it. That boy, I done did a lot of giving up big points.
This
all right.
week, you had 2 games that were 7.5 points or more, or 7 points and more. The Bengals, 7 points. Panthers, 7.5. Ravens, 9.5. Okay, that's 3 with points 7 and more. 3. Eagles, 7.5 is the 4th game. And 5. Buccaneers
That's
at
a lot.
Tampa Bay, 8.5.
Yeah, I don't
That's
usually
5 games.
Yeah, I don't usually do that, but that's a lot. NFL is a lot different than college.
Well,
you know what I mean? They can do it. They can get in that window.
We talk about it a lot, but the NFL is where you have the parity, the closer. The teams are closer talent-wise.
And people realize.
It's a different, I like the college game, but you do have sometimes, you'll get the Ohio State, Penn State games now, games like that where they're close, and there are now, there are better games now than beginning of the year.
Yeah.
But that's every week in the NFL.
Yeah, every week.
Every week in the NFL, you have these teams that it's razor thin. There's an injury here, an injury there, a block kick, a turnover, and, that's why betting NFL is insane because, teams can miss an extra point or not get a 2-point conversion or get a 2-point conversion. And you lose a bet. And I've always said, because you watch enough football, and I pay every week now that we pick games, and I watch this, but I think there's so much more luck that goes on in this. People think it's a skill. I don't think there is some skill, but I would argue there's more luck than skill.
Yeah, me too. Because
because you have, especially in the NFL.
Yeah, you do all that research. It's good.
Right.
Learn stuff. You got to learn some things, but they're just so close.
Right.
Teams be winning. It don't even be talent of the roster sometimes. It be schematically.
Right.
That scheme is a lot better against that scheme of defense, and they win. It's not that team is just so much better.
No.
There may be a player or two difference sometimes, but they're real close. That's why it's great. That's why the NFL is the greatest thing out.
It's number one.
Yeah, that's why it's like that.
And it's like I said, they were talking. The World Series on this last, and it just goes to show you, I think I should have had the ratings, but I don't know if they had 15 million watching the 5th game of the World Series or not. But the thing with the World Series and baseball, it's great, but it has evolved where, it wasn't like in the 70s and the 80s where they would get so many. The World Series was so watched, but now it's like they don't want to go up against football,
right?
Because they know they're going to
get smoked. Just be honest.
Yeah, and that's the sad part. Is you can't, the ratings in the World Series, let me see if I could pull this up here real quick. The World Series ratings, what were they? Actually, there was one of the largest. They average 12.1 million is the average viewers. And they had 11.3 million 11.3 million average the NBA Finals 2024. So, I mean, it goes to show you the difference as far as we talk a lot about it on the show. They had 18.6 viewers. That's big. 18.6 million watch Game 5.
Okay.
For baseball. That was a big rating for the baseball. But that was the Yankees and the Dodgers.
Right.
Compared to last year when it was Texas and Arizona, I think the ratings were like 12 million or so. Ratings were bigger, but you had bigger markets and obviously the bigger teams. But that doesn't even compare to football.
Oh, no. No, it's not close to that.
I mean, when you start looking at like even the Super Bowl ratings, and this is where it gets like, it just totally blows you away. What were I was just trying to get real quick, 42 million for the Super Bowl ratings this past year. 18, and then there's 42. That's double, more than double.
More than double.
Okay. Saturday Morning Sports Page. Stay safe. Do not drink and do not drive. We'll do it again next week. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark, Western Reserve Radio.
Youngstown, Warren, and Salem's local and national sports talk can be found on TuneIn and the Live 365 app at Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
Football Tailgate Show, right here on VSiN, the sports betting network, where you get your winners.
Hour 2 of the VSiN College Football Tailgate Show. I'm your host, Tim Murray, here in Las Vegas. Coming up in 15 minutes, Matt Humans. He will break down